From game-breaking mechs to the return of old POIs with raining tacos, Season 10 has been a roller coaster of emotions with its ups and downs, so today, let's review it. My name's Craig from LJ Studios, and today's video is all about an overview of Season 10, talking about the good and bad times and going over what I'd like to see in the upcoming Season 11. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you want to see more from me, then subscribe with notifications turned on so you can stay tuned for all the latest news in Fortnite. So where exactly do we start? I guess let's start with the Season 9 event and what transitioned us to Season 10. The Season 9 event was a huge epic battle between the Polar Peak monster and the Mecha team leader. During the fight, the monster had ripped the arm of the giant robot, and after knocking the monster back, he had actually fallen over right by the center of Loot Lake. Remember the Season 8 event where the vault at Loot Lake had opened up and we were able to unvault the drum gun and we first saw the Nexus orb? Well, the robot stuck his hand right in the vault in an attempt to supercharge himself with the orb, and with this new supercharged power, he was able to uppercut the monster, grab the sword hidden in Neo Tilted Towers, and put an end to the monster once and for all. After the event, the orb was left floating above the vault at Loot Lake, and over time it started to malfunction, cracking ever so slightly every day until it finally exploded, which brings us into the Season 10 trailer. In the trailer, you see the orb explode and good old Jonesy running away. Caught in the explosion, he was then teleported into a weird dimension, showing random things that little did we know would appear in Season 10, mechs, the return of the rocket, skins, etc. And then he was chucked back into the Fortnite map at Dusty Depot with the meteor frozen in time above him. Now looking back at the trailer, I'm starting to think that he didn't actually return to the original Fortnite world. Maybe he actually went to a different dimension, which could explain the Visitor, the Scientist, and the unknown group called the Seven. Could the world we were in before be the dimension the Visitor was a part of, while the Season 10 world is the one that the Scientist is a part of? Maybe we're going to see another 5 versions of the Fortnite world to see the rest of the 7. Anyway, we're going off topic here, but that's basically the story in how we ended up in Season 10. We were all excited at the start of Season 10 solely for the fact that Dusty Depot had returned and there was this cool frozen meteor above our heads, but this had blinded us by what was really going on. The mechs. The damn mechs that could have ended Fortnite. Mechs were introduced in Season 10 as a 2-man vehicle that could fire rockets, jump really high, and just generally be super OP, especially ripping down players' build battle structures. It was ridiculous. A bunch of pro players and big streamers stopped playing and reverted back to playing something like Minecraft, and there were hundreds of posts on Reddit and on Fortnite's Twitter begging them to remove the mechs from the game. But for a long time, Epic did nothing. Yes, they made some fine adjustment nerfs and put a beam on the missile so you can actually see where it's being fired, but it just wasn't enough. It ruined players' chances at winning money at tournaments and just put this huge negative spin on the game. We were unsure of why Epic just wouldn't vault the mechs. There was a theory that to keep the game as popular as it is, they would put in some ridiculously controversial, overpowerful mechanic in the game and then remove it when fans begged for it. And that would put them in this light that just screams, "Why thanks Epic, you the best." It was the same with the X-Force Stormwing and the Infinity Blade, but again, they didn't actually follow through with this theory as mechs still roamed around our Fortnite world. That was until recently though, which may explain why it's taken them so long to sort the problem out. Shortly after downloading the version 10.40 patch, Fortnite players started sharing clips of the B.R.U.T.E mechs exploding as soon as they hit the ground. At the same time, the monitors where the rocket was being built at Dusty Depot had changed with the mechs being on the screen. It seems like some sort of data analysis overview of the mechs and what appears to be some kind of virus infecting the mechs and causing them to explode when landing. This may explain why the mechs had been haunting our games in Fortnite. It could be something to do with the Season 10 event and the storyline. We'll find out more on Sunday the 13th of October when the Season 10 event is due to kick off. The mechs have been the worst part of Season 10 and thank God they are gone. Let's just hope they don't return in Season 11 or Chapter 2. Now let's talk about weapons added, vaulted and unvaulted. The start of Season 10 saw a huge change in terms of mobility. Season 9 made mobility really easy because of the ballers, quad crashers, shadow bombs, glider redeploys and that slipstream that spanned across majority of the map. With the introduction of Season 10, all of those items had been vaulted and the only okay-ish mobility item was the mech, which we all hated anyway, so this forced players into focusing on the storm location and making sure that they moved tactically throughout the map instead of being able to easily catch up with everyone due to how quick you could get across the map. At the start of Season 10, quite a lot of other items were vaulted as well. Tactical AR, flintlock pistol, semi-auto sniper, airstrike grenade, turrets, the present item, and they even got rid of cake. How could they do this? At the same time, we saw the return of a few other guns. The infantry rifle had been unvaulted, as well as the double barrel shotgun, 6-shooter and the hunting rifle, but these were only found in Tilted Town. Now that Tilted Town has gone, they're actually no longer available. Then in the version 10.10 content update, we had the introduction of the junk rift. Basically, with a junk rift, you would throw it and you would open up a rift dropping a large item on that area. It could easily destroy builds, but I think it was Epic's way to allow us to battle against the mechs. Given how slow the mech's general walking speed was rather slow, if the player using the mech didn't notice the junk rift, then it would open up on them and cause huge amounts of damage. Then in the version 10.20 content update, we were introduced to the new shield bubble item, which when thrown would pop a huge protective bubble up over you. Kind of like how Titan's rocket in Destiny. This was a pretty cool item to battle against the mechs, until players realized you could pop the bubble on a mech and they could walk around with it. Alright, so they weren't able to shoot rockets out of it, but they could still jump and stomp on people without taking any damage. Drum guns were also removed in this update, which I thought was a pretty bad move for Epic. Now I know drum guns were OP, but they were nerfed down a bit, and plus there was this huge event that literally had all of us players going physically into the vault to unvault the drum gun. Then they just simply vaulted it again, so it's kind of like, what was the point in the event, Epic? Along with the drum gun, the Storm Scout sniper rifle and the Storm Flip items were also vaulted, which I weren't too overly bothered about. I didn't really keep them in my inventory too long to really use them that much. Then in the content version 10.20 update, we had the new Zapper Trap that was added to the game. I still haven't really utilized them too much, but that's just me. I've been playing Fortnite for a long time now, and I still forget to use standard traps. I don't know why, I just always forget to use them. So again, for this one, I just haven't used them that much, but it was a nice idea of them to add it to Fortnite. Shortly after this, there was a hotfix that was put in place that changed it all. Version 10.20.2, and in this hotfix, Epic vaulted my favorite gun of all time, the combat shotgun. Now I know a lot of people hated it because it was so OP, but I loved it because it was so OP. I was much more accurate with it than any other shotgun due to that smaller crosshair. I didn't overly use it for its range, it was mostly because of that crosshair, while the range also helped of course. But they had to remove it really. I mean come on, what shotgun in this world can hit crazy ranges like the combat shotgun could in Fortnite? At the same time, the drum shotgun was vaulted, thank God for that, and the proximity grenade launcher. Even though they got rid of the combat shotgun, I was really happy to see the return of the suppressed assault rifle. I really enjoyed using that gun. They also hugely buffed the automatic sniper, as they said the automatic sniper was underperforming relative to some of the other sniper rifles. This adjustment damage should make it more desirable as an alternative long-range weapon. Increased damage from 31, 30, 35 to 40, 42, 44. It was quite a big buff, which made the gun actually usable. Then in version 10.30, players were happy to see the return of Greasy Grove, but this also brought about a gimmick in the Rift Zone, which we'll talk about a bit later on in the video, but it introduced spicy tacos into the game, which will give players 10 health or shield and give you a temporary speed increase of 40% for 20 seconds. This patch update also got rid of the burst SMG and brought back the awesome tactical SMG. Tactical SMGs are insane. They shoot super fast for low damage, but can shred through walls like no tomorrow. I really do think this was a great move of Epic to bring them back to Fortnite, so thank you. Then, when the Fortnite x Batman crossover event happened, it of course removed Tilted Town from the game to make room for Gotham City. With that, the double-barreled shotgun, 6-shooter, hunting rifle and the common variant of the infantry rifle disappeared from the game. We were then introduced to two really cool items, the Batman grapnel gun and the explosive Batarang. The Batman grapnel gun was similar to the grappler, except that once you use it and get slunged into the air, you would then be able to glide down with your Batman wings. It made mobility much easier, and I hope that somehow they keep it in for Season 11, which I doubt as it's a Batman exclusive. The explosive Batarang was similar to the remote explosives that were vaulted back at the start of Season 6, but you can't control when these explode. You can chuck them at a structure, and as a player gets within range, they will explode. You can also pick them up if they haven't exploded yet, which is pretty cool. Then something amazing happened in patch version 10.40. As I said earlier in the video, mechs were technically vaulted. Now, when mechs land, they instantly explode, which is thought to be because of some virus. I'm not sure if the Fortnite team will put mechs back in the game at all. I really hope not. I really hope that they actually learn their lesson with this one. We also saw the return of the Bouncer, and a legendary version of the tactical SMG was added to the game. This was hinted at previously during the Season 10 trailer, as you see Jonesy trying to reach out for it when he was in the void. Then lastly, in the latest patch version 10.40.1, we saw the return of the flintlock pistol, and like I said in a previous video, I don't really know why it was vaulted in the first place. You had to be incredibly accurate to use it, and it was just a fun weapon that you can get some really cool kills with. Overall, the weapon choices by the Fortnite team in Season 10 has been an interesting one. Vaulting the drum gun and bringing back tactical SMGs and bouncers that were also in the huge unvaulting event was a bit of an odd move. Making such a big deal out of an event and then just vaulting the community's choice and bringing back the others from the event was definitely a questionable choice, but hey, they control the game, not us, right? I was sad to see the combat shotgun go, but I understand why it had to go. I just hope something similar is added in Season 11. Next up, it's something that we've got to talk about: rift zones. Season 10 has all been about the Fortnite world being out of time, and with it, either the visitor or the scientists have been putting rift beacons around our Fortnite world, causing past and present areas to either merge or be straight up replaced by the old part of the map. Each rift zone seems to have its own little gimmick that comes with it. There's technically 7 in total, but Gotham City replaced Tilted Town, so there's only 6 on the map at the moment, so let's talk about each one. The rift zone at Loot Lake didn't actually return the old Loot Lake to the location. Instead, it has the 0 point in the center, in which we all think will be involved in the upcoming Season 10 event. Instead, the area seems to be suspended in the midst of an explosion, possibly the explosion that happens in the Season 10 trailer. The 0 point acts as a rift that you can use, and the area is affected by low gravity, allowing you to jump greater distances and fall further without taking any damage. Tilted Town was introduced in Season 10 and has a Wild West theme to it. It's an area that we've never seen before, and it came with a pretty big gimmick that a lot of people disliked. It took away our ability to build. Now, we all know building is the bread and butter of Fortnite, so for them to add an area that doesn't allow you to build does seem like a bit of an odd choice. But at the same time, it actually lets you practice your aiming and forces you to use objects to protect yourself instead of cranking 90s as soon as you see a bullet fly your way. It brought back Wild West themed guns like double-barreled shotgun, hunting rifle, and a 6-shooter. Gotham City was introduced as part of the Fortnite x Batman event, and it replaced Tilted Town. The fun thing about Gotham City is the fact that you don't have to worry about fall damage, as you have the ability to redeploy your Batwings glider at any point in time. It was a really nice idea for Fortnite to add this to the game and collab with Batman for the 80th anniversary of Batman, and it will be a shame to see it leave in Season 11. Retail Row had returned to the game, which a lot of players were excited about. It was reverted back to its more humble roots before it was upgraded to the Mega Mall, but this area has now gone dark and gloomy and has been infested by the Horde. So while exploring this area, you always had to watch your back to make sure no zombies snuck up on you ready to chow on your face. Fan-loved Greasy Grove had returned to the game. I always used to drop at Greasy Grove back in the day, so I was excited to see its return. They kept up the food theme in the area with a pretty annoying gimmick in the rift zone. Every so often, tacos will start falling from the sky, forcing us all to dance. Now, you can't take any damage while dancing, and you would regenerate 20 health per second, but this gimmick was so annoying. I can't tell you how many times I've dropped here, been in a clutch moment with another player, and just about to get a shot on them that would wipe them out, and suddenly tacos start falling, and you're standing there like an idiot waving your taco-filled hands in the air. Next up is the return of Moisty Maya. Well, kind of. Moisty Maya had merged with Paradise Palms and has now become Moisty Palms. This whole location has now been turned into a giant prop hunt though. As soon as you press the crouch button, you turn into a prop. You can still move around the area in the prop state, and it did make for some hilarious kills at first, but now that most people would expect that random toilet in the middle of the road to suddenly turn into a human and start shooting at them, it does get a bit meh after a while, but it can still be a fun little area to go to if you are bored of dropping to other places on the map. And last but not least, we've got the latest rift zone, which is Starry Suburbs. Remember a while back when this area was just full of broken down buildings? Well, now the buildings have returned but fully built. The gimmick for this area is shooting stars you'll see. Crushing the stars gives you access to more powerful items, including the legendary tactical SMG. Overall, I like the ideas of rift zones. I think it's pretty obvious that we're going to be seeing either huge map changes or a completely new map in Season 11, and so having the rift zones throughout Season 10 is a way of us reliving past season areas and giving them a final fareway before we venture into the new lands of Fortnite Chapter 2. Season 10 has been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, with the B.R.U.T.E mix coming and going and the vaulting of the combat shotgun. For Season 11, I really would like to see a whole new map with a new UI, new guns, new vehicles, and a bot training system. I think Season Season 10 has had a huge problem with mobility, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. As I said earlier, it forces players to be more tactical with the storm, but I do think that we need more ways to get to places quicker. They just don't need to go overkill like they did in Season 9. I've enjoyed Season 10, but there have been plenty of times I've been frustrated at the game, and it's safe to say that I'm looking forward to Season 11 or Chapter 2, whatever the Fortnite team are gonna call it. So guys, what has been your most memorable moment in Season 10 so far? What are you guys looking forward to the most in Season 11? Drop a comment below and let me know. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed my Season 10 overview. If you did, then do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button to show your support, and toggle that notification bell to stay tuned with all the latest and greatest Fortnite news. And if you're looking for a creator to support on the Support a Creator program, then look no further. It would be really awesome if you guys could support us by popping in LJ Studios in the shop before buying any new skins. Have a great day guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.